for me, it's not about like, I believe him or I don't believe him. To me, that's not it. It's not what it's ever been. I get criticized a lot because people think I'm labeling him a liar. And when I ask them, where have I ever called him a liar? They can never cite where I have. Now, spoiler alert, I haven't. But I do question people that make claims that can change humanity. That's what this all comes down to. And I don't think anybody should go, well, I know there's a UFO cover up. So if somebody comes out and they claim that they have proof of that cover up, they have to be telling the truth. One thing does not confirm the other thing. That's how I am. Just because I can absolutely prove a cover up, just because I can absolutely prove heavy layers of secrecy, that does not automatically confirm somebody who comes out and makes grandiose claims. Those things do not have to go hand in hand. One can be true, the other doesn't have to be. So that for me, then, where I kind of say to all of you who think I'm calling him a liar, I haven't. But I think that we need to look at the stuff that we can verify. We're not going to be able to turn around and open a book, search on the internet, file a FOIA or whatever, and uncover the deepest claims that David Grusch is making that obviously, according to him, encroach onto classified territory. But what we can verify, the smaller either claims or statements that he makes, that's what I hone in on. Why? Because then we can actually start to get a primer on how accurate some of those smaller things are. Now, that doesn't automatically mean he's lying. People are mistaken. I'm mistaken all the time. I make mistakes. I think one thing when another is true. Ask my wife. I get myself in trouble all the time. So nobody's perfect. So I don't hold that against anybody. But when somebody comes out in a congressional hearing and frames Doppler one way, but then in a YouTube interview frames it in a much more, I would say, elaborate way, and then concocting kind of this scenario that he called Catch-22 that I think some people kind of feel like, yeah, that's good. That's totally how it is. So he has to be telling the truth. I don't like stuff like that because you're taking, again, that under oath proper framing and turning it into something that it's not. So that doesn't mean that he's lying. It's not that I don't believe anything that he says. Again, it's just looking at the information and the evidence that's there, and we should dissect that. And that's when minutia matters, because the stuff that we can verify, we try to. The stuff we can't, we should deal with that. And then that steps us to a lot of this bigger stuff that hopefully will come out over time. So that's kind of the long-winded way of saying I'm not dodging your question. It's not that I do believe or don't believe, but I'm giving him a chance. I think we just have to deal with some of this stuff. Let me also say too, when I was talking to somebody on Reddit, responding to a little bit of criticism over there, may come as a shock. I get criticized on Reddit. They had stated that I always go after people if their stuff doesn't come from FOIA. I'm paraphrasing that, but it was some, grandiose allegation that if it doesn't come from FOIA, I have to attack it. And I'm sorry, that's just not true. There's no proof of that. But where I also want to kind of drive this point is that I push on the people who I feel have the biggest possibility of telling the truth. And that may surprise some people. And let me say that again. I push on the people that I feel have the biggest possibility of telling the truth. People like Corey Good that make all these, silly secret space program claims. And do you see me talk about him at all? Like, this is the first time I've probably ever muttered his name on my channel. I don't go around talking about him. Why not? Because he's full of it. It's all fiction. We all know that. So I don't have to sit there and beat a dead horse. But when I do with people like David Grusch or Luis Elizondo who make bigger claims, I see the potential that they could be right. And that's where I see the value in pushing harder. A lot of people don't like that, but just to give you the insight of who I am, that's why I do it. I believe in these guys more than all those other ones that we don't even have to talk about. So I believe that possibility deserves the pushback. And that's why I do what I do. Because if they are telling the truth, the only thing that I or skeptics like me that are asking important questions, not the debunker, and I hate saying the word because Mick West considers himself a debunker, and I like Mick. I'm talking about the people that are just like malicious with their debunking, that they're clearly not interested in investigating or anything like that. Those are the people I'm referring to here. You can ignore those people. But what I'm trying to say is if people that are making claims deal with people like me that are asking what I feel are important questions that should be addressed, then that only adds to their credibility. And again, it's not just because I'm asking them. Take me out of the equation. I'm talking about people like me that also ask very important questions, that push on the narrative being told. Because if they're telling the truth, there is nothing I can ask. There is nothing they can ask that will hurt that at all. So I just don't understand the vitriol from people that if you challenge the heroes, then you automatically become a villain and you have to be chastised. I don't understand that mindset. If I were to come out with a big claim, I hope you guys push back on me. Truly, I hope you do. Ask questions, push back. If you feel I'm lying, you go at me, because I'm not going to do that to you. So I'm not going to be bothered by it. And I'll respond to those appropriate questions being asked. And I think that that's what those figures in this field that are making these grandiose claims should do, and address some of this stuff. But again, that's just me.